Naomi had run out of places to look, so she turned away. That was how she handled things. Naomi. His voice was quiet, closer than she expected. She still didn't look at him. Nathan let it last 3 seconds. Then his hand came up, slow and certain, 2 fingers resting under her chin, turning her face toward him. She had nowhere left to go. His eyes were close and patient. She had forgotten exactly how it felt to be looked at like that. 12 years, and it still felt like this. Like she was worth the patience. She had spent a long time pretending she had not missed it. She had tried the window first. He was reflected in it. The bookshelf. He had just come from that direction. The floor. None of it worked. So she had looked at the wall. That was what she always did, when something felt too real. She looked away. It had always worked before. She opened her mouth to say something reasonable. He waited. 3 days before that evening, Naomi saw his truck before she even turned off the engine. Dark green, old, tailgate down. She knew that truck. She sat with her hand still on the wheel. Her pulse did something she had not asked it to do. Her mother had mentioned it on the phone. Nathan said he would look at the porch railing. 1 sentence. Naomi had told herself it was fine. 12 years was enough distance. She could walk into her father's house and find Nathan Reeves in it and feel nothing. She was wrong before she even opened the car door. The front door was unlocked. She stepped inside, and the smell of the house hit her first. Wood and old paper and the faint warmth of someone who had been here recently, and underneath it, something else. Cedar. Sawdust. Him. Kitchen, his voice said from somewhere deeper in the house. Her chest tightened before her brain had time to catch up. She left her bag at the foot of the stairs. She made herself walk toward the kitchen. The way you walk toward something you have decided not to be afraid of. He was crouched in front of the cabinet under the sink, back to her, working. He heard her come in and went still for just a second before he turned. 1 second. She noticed it because she was looking for it. He looked up at her from the floor. She looked down at him. 12 years went somewhere quiet. The kitchen became very small. "Hey," he said. His voice was steady. His eyes were not entirely steady. Something moved through her, warm and inconvenient. "Hey," she said. He held her gaze for a moment that lasted slightly longer than necessary. Then he looked back at the cabinet. "Pipe fitting under here is corroded. I can swap it out today if you want." "You can do it," she said. "Okay." She stood in the doorway and watched him work and thought, this is what he does. He shows up. He fixes things. He always did. "When did my mother call you?" she asked. 2 weeks ago. He reached into the toolbox without looking. She asked about the porch railing. "While I was here, I found a few other things." "How many other things?" "Enough to keep me busy." He glanced up briefly, and there it was again, that second where he looked at her before looking away. "You want the list now or later?" "Later." She looked around the kitchen, giving herself somewhere else to put her eyes. "Is there coffee?" "Made some. Probably not the way you take it." She turned back to him before she could stop herself. "How would you know how I take it?" "I don't," he said quietly. "That's why I said probably." After a while, he stood, washed his hands at the sink, close enough that she could have reached out. She noticed that. She always noticed things she was trying not to notice. He dried his hands, turned, looked at her. She thought, 12 years and he still looks at me like that. "Thank you for coming," she said. She had meant it to sound practical. "Of course," he said. The words landed quietly. She nodded and looked at the counter. Neither of them said anything. The kitchen was quiet. She thought, it was not supposed to feel like this. Not still. Not after all this time. The next morning, she came downstairs early and found him already in the kitchen, standing at the counter with his back to her. He heard her on the stairs before she reached the bottom. She knew this because his shoulders shifted, just slightly, like someone getting ready. They stood in the kitchen quietly, 2 people being careful around something unspoken. At some point she asked, "Did you know him well? My father lately?" Nathan set down his mug. "I came by most weeks," he said. He didn't like to ask for help, But he liked company. A pause. We played chess on Tuesday evenings. She went very still. He beat me more than I would like to admit. He never mentioned you were coming, she said. He probably thought you'd turn around at the state line. She looked at him. That sounds like him. Yeah, he said. It does. She pressed her hand flat against the counter. 12 years. He had been here the whole time, in this kitchen, on Tuesday evenings. While she was gone, he never mentioned that, she said. Her voice came out smaller than she intended. He probably thought you would worry. I would have. The words came out before she could weigh them. She felt Nathan register them, felt the moment of stillness that followed. I would have worried, she said again, quieter now, that he was lonely. Nathan looked at her. He did not say anything, which was exactly right. There was nothing to say that would make that easier, and he knew it. She turned to the window. Outside, the oak moved in a slow wind. After a moment, he came and stood beside her. Not close, just present. Did he ever talk about me? She asked. Yes, he said. He said you were going to be fine. A pause. He said it like he was reminding himself as much as telling me. She felt her throat tighten. It was going to be a long 3 weeks. She was already certain of it. The next morning, she heard him before she saw him. She went in anyway. He was crouched at the fireplace, running his hand along the edge of the stone hearth. He knew she was there before she spoke. She could tell by the slight change in how he held himself. That small, deliberate stillness. You have a crack running up the left side, he said, not turning. Nothing structural, cosmetic, but it will matter to buyers. Good morning to you too, she said. He looked over his shoulder then. There was a moment, just a moment, where something moved through his expression before he put it away. It was gone before she could name it. He almost smiled. Morning, he said. She went to the kitchen and he followed a few minutes later, washing stone dust from his hands at the sink. They moved around each other carefully, both aware of it. She kept her back to him longer than necessary. She was not ready to be looked at yet. You want some, she said, holding up the pot. Please, she poured. He looked at the cup for a second. Then he reached past her and opened the cabinet where the sugar had always been. You still take it with too much sugar, he said. She looked at him. I was 14. You were supposed to forget that. I forget very little, he said. He did not look at her when he said it. He took the mug with both hands. He leaned against the counter across from her and looked at her in that unhurried way he had. You sleep? He asked. Some. The spare room mattress is bad. Your father kept saying he would replace it. He kept saying he would do a lot of things. She looked at the window. Nathan was quiet for a moment. I read your articles, he said. The ones you sent him. He left them on the table. She looked at him. I read them, he said again. All of them. She did not know what to do with that. Why? He thought about it. I wanted to know what you were seeing out there. He looked at the window. You were always good at that. Noticing things other people walked past. She felt her throat tighten. You never said that. You weren't here to say it too. She held that for a moment, then she nodded. He did not say anything else. The kitchen was quiet except for the sound of the house. She spent the rest of the morning on the second floor. She could hear him working below. That careful rhythm. It was easy to work to. Around noon, he appeared in the doorway with 2 plates. There was bread and there were eggs, he said. She looked at the plates. She had forgotten to eat. She had not registered that she had forgotten until this moment. You didn't have to do that, she said. I was making some anyway. She took the plate. They ate sitting on the floor with their backs against the wall under the window. It was not a thing she had planned. It seemed to be where they had ended up. Outside, the oak moved slowly in a light wind. Tell me the list, she said. Now? Now. He told her. The crack in the hearth, cosmetic, won't hold up under inspection. The kitchen floorboard, already done. The guttering at the back needs replacing before the autumn rains. Could wait, but shouldn't. A window frame on the second floor, warped. The porch railing she already knew about. Two smaller things inside she would not have noticed. 7 total, he said. That's more than a porch railing. Your mother was optimistic. She almost smiled. How long? 2 weeks, maybe 3 if the guttering is worse than I think. She looked at her phone, her return ticket. Okay, she said. He looked at her for a moment. Then he picked up the plates and went downstairs. She sat where she was. She listened to water running below. He stays until the work is done. He always has. By the third evening, Naomi had run out of ways to pretend she was fine. She had found 3 books with her own name written in her father's handwriting on the title pages. She had put them in a separate pile and not looked at them again. She had been rationing herself all day, moving through the shelves methodically, making decisions, not feeling things until she could afford to feel them. Nathan came back inside when the light went. They had ended up in the sitting room, as they had the 2 evenings before. It had happened without discussion. He was reading. She was making notes. The lamp between them was warm. The house was quiet. At some point, she put down her notebook. She realized she had stopped working a while ago. She had just been sitting here, aware of him. She spoke first. She surprised herself. Do you miss this town when you're away? She asked. Or did you, when you left that year? He looked up from his book. Every day, he said. She thought about that. I never missed the city, she said. When I was away from it, that probably says something. Probably, he said. They talked after that. Carefully at first, the way you talk when you have been circling something and decide to walk a little closer. About the town, the people she had lost track of, the ones who had stayed, then about her father. He told her about the chess evenings. She told him about a letter her father had written to her mother on their 20th anniversary and never sent. She had found it that afternoon in the back of a drawer. Nathan listened the way he listened to everything, without filling it with himself. She was not sure when the conversation changed, only that at some point it was no longer about other things. Can I ask you something? She said. Depends on the question. That's not an answer? No, he agreed. It isn't. She did not ask. He did not complete the thought. They stayed where they were, and the lamp was warm between them. Do you ever think about it? She said finally. She was not entirely sure what she meant by it. She thought maybe he would not know either. He looked at her. He knew. Yes, he said. Her chest tightened. She had expected something deflecting. A question, an answer that closed the door gently. Not that. Nathan, she started. I know, he said quietly. She looked at the window. It was what she always did. She could feel it happening. She did it anyway. The silence stretched for 3 seconds. Then his hand came up, slow and without any hesitation at all, and 2 fingers rested under her chin and turned her face toward him. She had nowhere left to go. His eyes were steady and close and patient. What was in them was not a demand. It was just the truth. The same truth that had been sitting in this house, in this town, in the distance between them for over a decade. Waiting. She felt her throat tighten. I don't know how to do this, she said. Her voice was quieter than she meant it to be. I know, he said again. He did not move his hand. You don't have to know right now. She looked at him for a long moment. His thumb rested lightly against her jaw. Then she looked away again. This time, she looked down, not away from him. He let his hand drop. He did not push. They sat in her father's sitting room in the quiet of the evening. The thing between them remained unnamed and present. Neither of them pretended it was not there. She went to bed an hour later. She lay on the bad mattress and looked at the ceiling. She counted 12 years. Tuesday chess evenings. The fact that she had never been good at staying. She turned over and closed her eyes and did not sleep for a long time. Just a moment, dear listener. I'm Mary, emotional storyteller and creative producer here at Love and Light Stories. I wanted to pause right here because if you're still with us, you already feel what's happening between these two. Every word of this story was made for you. If it's finding its way to your heart, please subscribe and leave a like. It costs nothing and keeps these stories alive. Now, let's continue. The next morning, Naomi had told herself she was not going to watch him work. She lasted until the coffee was made. Then she went outside. He was on the back slope of the roof, his jacket left on the ladder because he had gotten warm. She shielded her eyes against the morning light. She thought about how easy he made it look, all of it. The roof, the house, being here, being near her, without it seeming to cost him anything. How bad is it? She called up. He looked down. Worse than I thought in one section. Better in the rest. I'll need to replace about 4 feet of it. Can you do that today? Most of it. She watched him for a moment, the ease he had up there, the way he moved with complete certainty about where to put his weight. Be careful, she said. He looked down again, and this time, there was something in his expression she had to look away from. I'm always careful, he said. She went back inside and did not think about that. By midday, he had come down and started on the replacement section. She moved her work outside to the back step, her laptop balanced on her knees. They worked in the same comfortable parallel they had found over the last few days. He handed her things without being asked. A glass of water. The pen she had left on the kitchen table. She took them without ceremony and did not comment on the fact that he noticed. At one point, he sat down on the step below her. He ate his sandwich. She was aware of the warmth of him close to her knee, the smell of fresh timber and outdoor air. She kept her eyes on her screen. She had written the same sentence 3 times. You're staying past the 2 weeks, he said. It was not a question. The work isn't finished, she said. The work will take 3 weeks, like I said. Then I'll stay 3 weeks. He ate his sandwich. She typed something she immediately deleted. Naomi, he said. I know, she said. Do you? She looked at him then. He was looking back at her with that patience she had spent years telling herself she had imagined. Her chest was tight, in a way that had nothing to do with grief. Can we just, she started, can we just be here for a little while, without it being anything? He considered this. He did not look offended. Sure, he said. She nodded. He finished his sandwich. She went back to her screen and did not type anything else for a while. The afternoon was warm. The oak moved in the wind. Being here felt, despite everything, like something she had needed. Around 4, she went inside and heard a sound from the utility room, a soft, persistent drip. She opened the door. Water was running steadily down the back of the washing machine from somewhere behind it. Nathan, she called. He was inside in under a minute. Crouched behind the machine with his flashlight. She stood in the doorway watching him work. He had the calm of someone who has seen worse. Hose fitting, he said. Back connection came loose. Probably been working its way loose for months. Is that bad? It's Tuesday afternoon bad, not Sunday night bad. She leaned against the door frame. Is there a scale? There's always a scale. He reached into his back pocket for a wrench. Sunday night is the worst. Nothing's open. Everything costs double. And you're mopping at midnight. And Tuesday afternoon. Tuesday afternoon, you fix it in 20 minutes, and you still make your coffee. She watched him work for a moment. You know this house better than I do, she said. He glanced back at her briefly. I've spent a lot of time in it. I know. She looked at the water stain on the floor. That's not a criticism. I know it's not. He tightened the fitting and stood and ran the machine for 30 seconds to check the seal. No drip. He looked at it with the same quiet satisfaction he gave everything fixed. Water, she said. Please. They stood at the kitchen counter. She handed him a glass. She looked at the utility room door. She thought about Sunday nights and midnight mopping, all the years this house had been here without her in it. Thank you, she said, for all of this, not just today. He looked at her. You keep thanking me. You keep doing things. That's different, he said. She looked at him. He was almost smiling. Something shifted in her chest, small, warm, inconvenient. Is it? She said. Yes, he said simply. She looked out the window at the oak. She did not say anything else. There was nothing safe left to say. Diane arrived the next afternoon without calling first. Naomi heard the car on the gravel and looked out the upstairs window and felt her whole body make a small adjustment. She had been in the study, sitting on the floor sorting through the last box. Nathan had been beside her for the past hour, going through the shelves at her request, handing her things and asking, "Keep or give?" His shoulder had been close to hers for most of it. She held up an old photograph. The back garden, years ago. The fence still standing. "Do you remember the summer the fence fell down?" she said. "The whole back section." Nathan glanced over. "Your father blamed the wind for 3 days. It was you. You kicked it trying to get the ball back." A pause. "I never confirmed that." "You just confirmed it." He almost smiled. She put the photograph in the keep pile without deciding to. She had stopped noticing how close his shoulder was only in the last few minutes. She went downstairs. Nathan came behind her carrying a stack of books. Diane walked in, took in the scene, and registered it completely without commenting on it. "I would have tidied if you had told me you were coming," Naomi said. "You look fine," Diane said. She set the casserole on the kitchen table and looked at Nathan with the particular warmth she reserved for people she was also assessing. "Nathan, how are the repairs coming?" "Nearly done," he said. He set the books on the counter. "I'll leave you two." "You don't have to," Naomi said, before she thought about it. A small silence. Diane looked at her. Nathan picked up his jacket. "I'll be back tomorrow for the guttering," he said. He nodded to Diane. "Good to see you." The back door closed behind him. The kitchen was a different temperature. Diane turned to Naomi. "How long has he been here every day?" she said. "He's doing repairs." "I know what he's doing." She found a pot and turned on the stove. "I'm asking whether you know what you're doing." "Diane, I'm not saying anything." She didn't look up. "I'm just saying it's a lot of time for repairs." Naomi looked at the counter where Nathan had set the books. She picked up the top one, put it back down. "He was close with Dad," she said. "I know he was." Diane finally looked at her directly. "I just want you to be able to move forward. When all of this is done, that's all." She said it kindly. That was the difficult part. After dinner, Diane hugged her at the door and said she was proud of how much she had gotten done. Naomi stood on the porch and watched the taillights disappear down the gravel drive. When she went back inside, she stood in the kitchen for a long time, looking at the counter where his books had been. She picked up her phone, put it down without dialing. She was not going to call him tonight. That would be a decision she had not made yet. The next morning, Nathan came back for the guttering. He had said he would. He showed up, tools in hand, like it was the most natural thing. She let him in without a word. That felt like a decision, too. Naomi caught herself doing something she had not done in years. She was watching him. They were working in the study, she on the books, and he on the window frame that had warped and would not seal properly. The light was low and warm. At some point, she stopped sorting and just watched him work. "You're staring," he said without turning around. "I wasn't. You were." "I was thinking about the books." "Yes," she said. A pause. She could hear the faint smile in the silence. She looked back at her shelf and felt the warmth move up through her chest. This is the problem. This has always been the problem. She went back to the books. A few minutes passed. "Does it bother you?" she asked. "Being here, with all of it." He did not stop working. "No," he said. "Does it bother you that it doesn't bother me?" She thought about that. "Yes," she said quietly. "A little." He almost smiled again. She could tell from the set of his shoulders. She went back to the books. A few minutes passed. "This one," she said, holding up a worn paperback. "Do you know if he ever finished it?" Nathan glanced over. 3 times, he said. He always said the ending surprised him. Every time. She looked at the cover, set it in the keep pile. "That sounds like him too," she said quietly. "It does." A moment passed. "We don't always have to talk about him," Nathan said. He did not stop working. "We're allowed to just—" He stopped. "Just what?" "Be people, not just people he left behind." She looked at the shelf. She did not say anything for a moment. "I don't know how to do that yet," she said. I know, he said. Neither do I. They worked in silence for a while, the lamp between them, the window frame slowly giving. At some point, she made a sound of frustration at a box that refused to close. Here, he said. He crossed the room, crouched beside the box, and showed her that the corner flap was folded wrong. He fixed it in one motion, and the box closed cleanly. He was close enough that she could feel the warmth of his arm near hers. Thank you, she said. He did not move immediately. He looked at the box and then he looked at her, both at the same level, close. The lamplight made his face clear and warm. Naomi, he said quietly. Her pulse did something she did not ask it to do. Nathan, she said. He looked at her for a long moment. Then he reached over, slowly, and his hand covered hers on the floor. Just that, warm and steady. She did not pull away. Is this okay? He said quietly. She looked at their hands. I don't know yet. That's okay, he said. They stayed like that for a moment. She felt the weight of it in her chest. She did not have a word for it, but she had to be careful with it. He lifted his hand. He stood. He went back to the window frame without making anything of it. She sat where she was with her pulse still uneven. She looked at her hand on the floor. After a moment, she said, Nathan. He did not turn. I know, he said quietly. I'm not ready. I know that too. He ran his hand along the window frame. I'm not going anywhere. She looked at her hand on the floor. 12 years. She had been avoiding this for 12 years, and it had not gone anywhere. Neither had he. She had invited him to stay. She had said it without thinking. That was the only way she ever said the true things. The rain had started and the drive was bad. The words came out before she had decided to say them. You should wait until it lets up. He had not argued. She had not taken it back. They ate dinner from what was in the kitchen. Pasta and some things from a jar. Surprisingly fine. Afterward, they ended up on the sitting room floor with their backs against the sofa. Neither of them had thought to turn on the overhead light. The lamp on the floor was the easiest option. She asked him once, after a long, comfortable silence, why he had stayed. He knew she did not mean tonight. He looked at the far wall for a moment. Then he said, I like it here. I know how things work here. I know which roads flood and which ones don't, and where the good timber comes from and who needs help before they ask. He paused. I tried leaving once, for about a year. I came back and it felt like putting on a coat that fit. She thought about that. I always thought leaving was the brave thing. She said, Maybe it was, he said. For you. She looked at him. You're not angry about it? No. You were at the time. He was quiet for a moment. A little, he said. Not at you, at the situation. He paused. I always knew you had to go. You were made for things this town couldn't give you. That didn't make it easier. But I understood it. She looked at the lamp on the floor. Nobody had ever said that to her. Not like that. Without wanting something back from it. I didn't know you thought that, she said. You didn't ask, he said. Simply. Not an accusation. She looked at him. He met her eyes directly. Your father understood you had to go, he said. He was proud of you for it. He told me that. Her throat tightened. He never told me that, she said. He told you in other ways. Nathan turned slightly toward her. He kept everything you sent him, every article you wrote. He had a folder on his desk. She pressed her fingers against her eyes for a moment. Just a moment. When she took her hand away, Nathan was still looking at her, not trying to fix anything, just there. She did not need him to say anything. That was the relief. He understood that. I should have come back more, she said. You're here now, he said. She looked at him for a long moment in the low light. He did not look away. Something between them shifted, settled, like it had finally found where it was going. The silence stretched. Then Nathan moved, not fast. He turned toward her. His hand came up and rested against her jaw. Just his thumb along her cheekbone, warm and steady. He looked at her the way he had been looking at her all evening. She stopped breathing. He leaned in slowly. She did not move. The rain outside, the lamp on the floor. his face close to hers, close enough that she could feel the warmth of him. Then his mouth was against hers, barely, a question more than anything else, careful and brief. He stopped, pulled back just slightly, watching her. Her pulse was loud. "Nathan," she said. "I know," he said quietly. He did not move his hand from her face. "I'm scared," she said. It came out smaller than she expected. "I know," he said again. His thumb moved against her cheek. He was not pushing. He was just there, as he always was, waiting. She closed her eyes. "I don't want to do what I always do," she said. He was quiet for a moment. "Then don't." She opened her eyes. He was right there, the same patience, the same steady truth she had been running from for 12 years. It had not gotten any less real by running. She leaned closer. His hand was still warm against her face, his thumb barely moving against her cheekbone. She felt the warmth of him from her jaw to her chest, the lamp on the floor, the rain against the window, his mouth close enough that she could feel his breath. Her heart was so loud she was certain he could hear it. She stayed there, close enough that it would have taken almost nothing. Then she turned her head slightly and pressed her forehead to his shoulder instead. She felt the breath leave her in a long, slow exhale. His arm came around her without a word. He didn't push. Outside, the rain came down steady. Neither of them said anything. She stayed there with her eyes closed. Her chest ached in a way she did not have a clean name for. It was the closest she had let herself be to anything real in a very long time. The next morning, Diane called. Naomi was in the garden when her phone rang. She was picking the last of the herbs her mother had planted along the south wall. She saw her sister's name and answered. Diane had received a call from the estate agent. There was an offer on the house. Preliminary, from a family who had been looking in the area for months. It was a reasonable offer. The agent thought it was worth considering. "I told him we would need time," Diane said. "But Naomi, this is what we discussed." "I know. You've been there almost 3 weeks. The repairs aren't completely finished. Nathan can finish after the sale is agreed. The buyers would expect some remediation work anyway." A pause. "The agent needs an answer by Friday. That's 4 days." The way she said it. 4 days. "How are things there?" Diane added, the way she asked it. "Fine," Naomi said. "Are they?" And Naomi looked at the south wall, the herbs, the weathered stone. She thought about Nathan's hand on hers in the study, the rain, what she had said in the dark. "Diane," she said. "I'm not criticizing," Diane said carefully. "I'm just asking whether you're making a clear decision about the house, or whether you're making a different kind of decision and calling it the same thing." The line was quiet. "I'll think about the offer," Naomi said. "That's all I'm asking." She hung up and stood in the garden with the herbs still in her hands and looked at the south wall. She went back inside. She set the herbs on the counter. She stood there. That evening, Nathan arrived and found her at the kitchen table with a cold mug of tea she had not drunk. He looked at her. He pulled out the chair across from her and sat down. "Diane called," Naomi said. "I figured. There's an offer on the house." He was quiet. "She thinks I should consider it." Naomi pressed her hands flat on the table. "She's not wrong to think that." "No," he said, "and she's not." She looked at him. He met her eyes steadily. "Nathan," she said. "You don't have to decide tonight," he said. She nodded. He stayed a while longer and finished fixing the spare bedroom window, and before he left, he paused at the kitchen door. "You okay?" he asked. "Long day," she said. He looked at her for a moment. He did not fully believe it, but he nodded and left. She stood in the kitchen after the sound of his truck had faded. She pressed her hands flat on the counter. Something real was within reach. She did not trust herself not to ruin it. She knew something had changed the moment she reached the bottom of the stairs. The kitchen smelled of cedar and fresh wood and coffee already made. Nathan was at the counter with the drawer removed, working the edge with a hand plane. He looked up when she appeared in the doorway. There was something steady in his eyes, like he had been expecting her. "Always noticed this one," he said. "Never had a reason to fix it before. She stood in the doorway and looked at him and thought, "Yes, you did. You just didn't say so." "How long have you been here?" she asked. "An hour." He ran his thumb along the edge. "Maybe a little more." She poured herself a glass of water and sat at the table and watched him work. "Nathan," she said, "why didn't you ever say anything before, when we were young?" He stopped, set down the plane, turned to face her properly. "I tried once," he said. She thought back. She knew exactly what he meant. She had known at the time. She had left for the city 2 weeks later. She had not come back properly for 12 years. "I was 20, she said. "I know." "I didn't know how to stay." "I know that too," he said. He said it without accusation. She felt it land without defense. That was unusual for her. "Did you ever leave?" she asked. "After I did, for real." "Once," he said. "Took a job up north. 4 months." "Why did you come back?" He was quiet for a moment. "Didn't feel like mine up there," he said. She understood that he was not talking about the town. He put the drawer back. It opened and closed cleanly, and he looked at it with the same quiet satisfaction he had with every fixed thing. She was still sitting at the table watching him. He turned. He looked at her for a moment, then crossed the kitchen in a few steps and held out his hand. She looked at his hand. She took it. He pulled her up gently. She was standing close to him, closer than the kitchen required. His other hand came to rest against the side of her face. "Nathan," she said softly. He kissed her, slower than the first time, more certain. She put both hands against his chest. She felt the warmth of him. He had not gone anywhere. He had stayed. Her chest loosened. She had not expected that. "Stay today," she said against his shoulder. "Okay," he said. He did not ask what staying meant or make it into something it needed to become. He just stayed. They spent the morning in the study, finishing the last of the shelving. Somewhere around noon, he announced that the kitchen needed actual food in it. He drove to the market without asking what she wanted. He came back with bread and a rotisserie chicken and things for a salad. She set the table while he put it together. They ate at her father's kitchen table like it was something they had done before. "You know how to cook," she said. "I know how to assemble things that were already cooked." "That counts." "It barely counts," he said. She tore a piece of bread. "What do you actually cook?" He considered this seriously. "Soup, pasta, one very reliable egg dish." "What kind of egg dish?" "The kind where you do not ask questions and you eat what is in front of you." She laughed, easy and surprised. She had not laughed like that in a while. He looked at her when it happened, not making anything of it, just noticing. After lunch, he worked on the last of the exterior trim. She sat on the back step in the afternoon sun with her notebook. She wrote things she had not been able to write in weeks. Her head had been too loud. The sound of him working was close and steady. It did not ask anything of her. She filled 3 pages. At some point, he came down from the ladder. He sat on the step beside her without asking. He looked out at the garden with his forearms on his knees. She kept writing for a few more minutes before she put the notebook down. "Tell me something about my father," she said. "Something I don't know." He thought for a moment. "He kept a list," Nathan said, "in a notebook on the kitchen shelf, things he wanted to fix around the house. He added to it every time I came by, and every time I crossed something off, he added 2 more things." He looked at the garden. "I think he liked having reasons for me to come back." She felt her throat tighten. "He was good at that," she said. "Finding reasons." "Yes," Nathan said. He was. They sat in the afternoon light. The garden was quiet. She thought about a man who had played chess on Tuesday evenings and kept a running list and never once told her any of it. She did not feel cheated. She felt unexpectedly lucky. Later that evening, they made the reliable egg dish, a great deal of pepper. Exactly 1 pan. She ate 2 servings and did not ask questions. It was a good day, one of the better ones she had had in a long time. She did not know it would also be the last one for a while. The following morning, Diane came back. This time she called ahead, which meant she had something to say that she wanted to say properly. She arrived at noon with a composure that Naomi had learned over many years to treat as a warning. They sat at the kitchen table. The fixed drawer was behind Diane. Naomi looked at it once and then at her sister. I heard something, Diane said. I want you to know it before you hear it elsewhere. She told it plainly, which was her way. 6 months ago, Caleb Marsh from the construction firm in the county had offered Nathan a contract, a full restoration project in Portland. 18 months of work, the kind of project that would have expanded his business considerably. Nathan had turned it down without much explanation. He cited existing local commitments. I only found out because Caleb mentioned it to someone at the firm handling the estate, Diane said. He thought it was strange. He still thinks it was strange. Naomi looked at the table. He turned it down 6 months ago, she said. Before your father died. Before your mother called him about the house. Diane let the space after that be empty. Naomi knew what she was doing. She knew her sister meant it kindly. And she knew that the thing rising in her chest was not anger. It was fear. The old fear. The one she always felt when someone gave something up because of her. That's not, she started. I'm not saying anything, Diane said quietly. I'm just telling you what I know. After Diane left, Naomi sat at the kitchen table for a long time. She heard Nathan's truck on the gravel. She sat very still and listened to him come inside and set down his things. He came to the kitchen doorway and read her in a single look. Naomi, he said. You turned down a contract, she said. He was quiet. 6 months ago, she said. Portland. 18 months of work. He came in and sat down across from her and didn't try to minimize it or explain it away. Yes, he said. Because of this house. He looked at her steadily. Because of you. She pressed her palms flat on the table. Nathan, I was not here 6 months ago. I hadn't been here in years. I know. You cannot make a decision like that because of someone who doesn't even come home. Something shifted in his expression. Not hurt exactly. Something more patient than hurt. Naomi, he said. No. She stood up. Her voice was steady, and she needed it to be. You made a promise to my father about the house. I know that's what this is. I'm grateful. But you don't have to keep doing this. The major work is done. I can hire someone to finish the rest. He looked at her for a long moment. That's not what this is, he said. I think it is, she said. I think you feel responsible because of him. And I think I've let it get confused with something else. That's my fault. She looked at the drawer, the fixed drawer that nobody had asked him to fix. I'm going to talk to the estate agent, she said. I think it's time. He did not argue. He looked at her for a long moment. There was a night, he said quietly, before you left. 12 years ago. She went still. I almost said something then too, he said. I didn't. Why not? I thought you'd stay if I asked, and I didn't want that to be the reason. He paused. I wanted you to stay because you wanted to. She looked at him. She did not say anything. I still want that, he said. That's all. She looked at the drawer, the fixed drawer that nobody had asked him to fix. She thought, this is what I do. I find a reason. I build a door and I walk through it. Okay, she said quietly. He left an hour later. She stood at the front window and watched the green truck go down the gravel drive. She stood there until she could not hear it anymore. Then she turned and the house was very quiet. She walked to the kitchen. His thermos was still on the counter. She picked it up, still faintly warm. She set it on the counter, picked it up again. You made a promise to my father, she said out loud to the empty kitchen. Hearing it in her own voice made it worse, not better. That was not what she had believed when she said it. That was the sentence she had chosen because the true one was too frightening. She walked to the sitting room and sat on the floor with her back against the sofa, the thermos in her lap, the room where he had turned her face toward him. She sat in it anyway. The light changed. She did not turn on a lamp. After a while, she got up and went upstairs. She lay on the bad mattress and held the thermos against her chest like something she was not ready to return. He had mentioned this mattress on the second day, simply Without ceremony, this one is bad, your father kept meaning to replace it, as if he had been noting things, for someone who would eventually arrive to need them noted. She stared at the ceiling, the drawer, the pipe fitting, the guttering. 12 years of articles in a folder, 18 months in Portland. She pressed her hand flat against the mattress and thought, he noticed everything. She had just spent a very long time pretending not to notice that he noticed. The house settled around her in the dark, and she did not sleep for a long time. She did not call the estate agent that day. She sat on the floor of the sitting room with his thermos in her lap. She looked at the walls her father had painted, the shelves he had built, the room where Nathan had turned her face toward him 3 weeks ago. She stayed there until the light changed. Then she got up. She went to the kitchen. She stood at the window. The guttering Nathan had fixed was clean along the roofline. She could see it from here. He was proud of you, she said out loud. To no one. She had been doing that a lot, moving past things before they landed. She was done moving past things. She set down the thermos. She went upstairs to her father's desk and sat in his chair. On the second morning after Nathan had left, she went out to the back of the house. The guttering he had replaced was clean and even along the roofline. The window seals were flush. The porch railing was solid under her hand. She stood there and looked at all the fixed things and understood something she had been resisting since she arrived. She went back inside. She opened the bottom drawer she had been avoiding since the first day. Inside, it was the folder. Every article, printed and clipped, organized by year. And at the back, a photograph. Her and Nathan from a summer a long time ago, standing in front of this house, laughing at something she could not remember. Her eyes stung. She held the photograph for a long time. Then she set it on the desk. Her phone rang. She looked at the screen. Nathan. She answered. Hey, he said. Hey, she said. A pause. Neither of them said anything. It was not uncomfortable. You okay? He said. I'm getting there, she said. Okay, he said. And then, I'm here, if you need. She looked at the photograph on the desk. I know, she said. She hung up. She sat for a moment. Then she picked up his thermos from the counter, put it in her bag, and picked up her keys. He was in his workshop when she got there, a long, low building behind his house. It smelled of cedar and linseed oil, everything she associated with him. He heard her car and came to the door. He looked at her with an expression she could not read from the distance. She walked toward him. You didn't turn down Portland for my father, she said when she was close enough. No, he said. You should have told me. You needed to get there yourself. She stopped in front of him. What if I hadn't gotten there? He looked at her steadily. You would have. You don't know that. No, he said, but I knew you. She stood in front of him. She looked at him. She felt the full weight of 12 years, the drawer, the Tuesday evenings, the photograph. I'm good at leaving, she said. I've always been better at leaving than staying. I know, he said. I don't know if that changes. I'm not asking you to change, he said. I'm asking you to stay for the right reason this time. Not because the work isn't done. Not because of your father. Because you want to. The morning was very quiet around them. The cedar smell of the workshop. The light on the grass behind her. She looked at him. He looked back. She felt the full weight of what he was offering land in her chest. She let it land. She did not move. 12 years. The Tuesday evenings, the drawer, the folder, the photograph. She had spent a very long time building doors. She knew exactly how to build them. She knew which words to use and how to say them. She knew how to leave a room without looking like she was running. She did not build a door. I'm scared, she said. She had said it before. It was still true. I know, he said. He had said this before too. What if I leave again? She said. What if that's just what I do? He looked at her directly. Then you leave, he said, and I'll still be here. She felt her throat tighten. That's not fair to you, she said. No, he said, but it's true. He was quiet for a moment. Then he said something he had not said before. I missed you, he said. The whole time. Every time I came to the house and you weren't there, I missed you. I thought you should know that. Her throat tightened. "Nathan," she said. "That's all," he said. "I just wanted to say it once." He opened his arms and she stepped into them. He held her there in the doorway of his workshop in the morning light. She pressed her face against his shoulder. She felt the warmth of him. He had stayed, that was all. He had just stayed. She thought, "This is what I came back to, whether I knew it or not." After a while, he pulled back and looked at her face, and she let him look. Then he kissed her, properly. She kissed him back with her hands in his jacket. Her whole chest was open in a way that frightened her. She did it anyway. It was not tentative this time, and it was not brief. When they finally stopped, she had her forehead against his. She was breathing, alive in a way she had not let herself be in a very long time. "Okay," she said softly. "Okay," he said. 6 weeks later, Naomi was still there. She had not precisely planned for this. What she had planned was a conversation with the estate agent. She had it. Then she decided to delay the sale by 2 months. It was either a plan or a revelation, depending on how you looked at it. She told Diane, who said, "I see," in a tone that contained a complete paragraph of opinion. Then said she was glad. Naomi had believed that part. She had gone back to the city once, for a week, to see her apartment, deal with her work, make sure she still existed there. She did. It was smaller than she remembered, quieter in a way that used to feel like peace. Now it felt like something different. She had come back on a Thursday, and Nathan had been at the house when she arrived. Not because she had told him she was coming. It turned out he often came by in the evenings, had for months before she arrived. She had not decided what to do with that yet, except to feel something warm and complicated about it. On a Saturday morning, she came downstairs to find him already in the kitchen. Coffee made, the good bread from the bakery on the counter. He had been out early. She had not. "You went to town," she said. "I was up," he said. She stood beside him at the counter. She looked out the window at the garden and the oak and the autumn light on the back wall. "Diane called yesterday," she said. "How is she?" "Resigned," which for Diane is basically enthusiastic. He made a sound that was close to a laugh. She turned and leaned her back against the counter to look at him properly. He was reading something on his phone. He had not shaved. The morning light came in at the angle that made the kitchen look like it always had, warm and slightly uneven and entirely familiar. "I've been thinking about the study," she said. He looked up. "Dad's books. I don't want to sell all of them. There are too many that should stay." She looked at the counter. "I was thinking about keeping the house, renting it maybe, having somewhere to come back to." He was quiet for a moment. "You'd come back?" he said. "Yes." "Often?" She looked at him. He was looking at her steadily. No pressure, just the question. "As often as I can," she said. "And then maybe, eventually, more than that." He set down his phone. He looked at her. "More than that," he said slowly. "Like staying." "Like staying?" she said. "Here." "Here," she said. He turned to face her. He took the mug gently from her hands and set it on the counter. She let him. He stepped closer and put his hands on her face, both of them, the way he had the night it rained. She looked up at him. "I would like that," he said quietly. "I thought you might," she said. He kissed her. She thought about the folder in the bottom drawer, the photograph, the Tuesday evenings. She thought, "I have spent a long time building doors. Maybe it is time to learn a different thing." She pulled back just enough to look at him. "Thank you," she said, "for not giving up on this." "Thank you," he said, "for coming back." She laughed quietly and looked down, not away from him, just down, the way you look when something is too full to hold directly. He noticed. He put one finger under her chin, lightly, the same gesture as before. He tilted her face back up toward his. She let him. "There it is," he said quietly. She smiled. A real one, the kind she had stopped using. Outside, the oak moved in the October wind, and the house was warm and the morning had nowhere else to be. If this story found its way into your heart, I would love to know. Leave your rating in the comments from 0 to 10. Please don't forget to subscribe. It costs nothing and means everything for the channel. Thank you for being here. See you next time.